Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a really impactful daily bread devotional titled Messengers of Truth, Representing God with Integrity. And right off the bat, we're going to anchor this on the Bible, specifically Malachi chapter 2, verse 7. You know, whether you're a leader, a teacher, or honestly just someone navigating everyday relationships, we all face this universal challenge. How do we make sure our outward actions actually match up with what we say we believe? We're going to look at what it literally means to carry the responsibility of representing God well. We'll use the historical context of the Bible to draw out some absolutely crucial lessons for us today. Let's get right into it. Okay, so let's look at Malachi chapter 2, verse 7. Here is what the text actually says. For the lips of a priest ought to preserve knowledge, because he is the messenger of the Lord Almighty, and people seek instruction from his mouth. Now, this is the foundation for everything we're talking about today. It sets a baseline standard, right? The expectation was that these messengers would be a solid source of truth and instruction. But well, as we'll see, having a standard and actually living up to it, yeah, those are two very different things.
So here's our roadmap. We are going to outline the big picture first and then dive into the details across 4 quick steps. 1, the historical context. 2, speaking the truth. 3, actions matching words. And 4, living with integrity.
Section 1, the historical context. Let's get right to the heart of the issue here by comparing two totally conflicting realities. On one hand, you have what the priests were actually called to do. Their job description was to preserve knowledge, lead people in truth, and honor God. Pretty straightforward. But then consider what they actually did in reality. The text points out that instead of guiding people, they showed partiality. They led people astray. And ultimately, they turned others completely away. God directly rebuked them because there was just this massive, damaging gap between their calling and their actual behavior. They literally had the title of messengers, but totally dropped the ball on delivering the message. And this is where the devotional pivots from history to us today. It says, anyone who represents God carries the responsibility to reflect him well. Think about that for a second. This isn't just a critique of historical leaders. The author is making it crystal clear that if you or I claim to represent God in our daily lives, we carry that exact same immense responsibility. We have to reflect his character accurately to the people around us. Section 2, speaking the truth. The source lays out a really clear step-by-step process for how to live this out. Because let's face it, whether we realize it or not, our words have massive influence. People are always watching, always listening. So how do we actually get this right? First off, we have to be highly intentional with our words so they reflect truth. I mean, that doesn't just happen by accident. Second, you have to seek to understand the Bible so you can share it accurately. You can't preserve knowledge if you don't actually possess it first. And third, we have to actively avoid influencing others in ways that lead them away from God. Our words are kind of like a compass for the people around us, and we absolutely have to make sure that compass is pointing true north. So the really crucial point here is that our speech has real-world consequences. When we speak carelessly, it can mislead others. Careless speaking isn't just a tiny mistake. It can actively push people way off course. But on the flip side, when we intentionally walk in truth, we become this reliable guide, pointing others toward God instead of away from him. Moving right along to section 3, actions matching words. The text points out that the priests in Malachi didn't just fail in what they said, they fundamentally failed in how they lived. Their actions just did not align with God's ways, and so their leadership lost all its integrity. To avoid that exact same trap, the devotional gives us 3 really practical steps. First, you've got to live in a way that visibly reflects what you believe. Second, you need consistency in both the public and private areas of your life, meaning whoever you are in front of a group has to be exactly who you are behind closed doors. No double lives. And third, we have to acknowledge that we can't really do this on our own strength. You have to ask God for his grace to help you represent him. Actually, the source includes this beautifully simple prayer asking for exactly that kind of guidance. And the author explains exactly why this matters so much. People are more likely to trust what we say when they see it lived out. It really is that simple. When our actions don't match our words, it completely weakens our witness. We just look hypocritical. But when we live consistently with our stated beliefs, wow, it radically strengthens our impact. Your lived reality is basically the ultimate proof of your spoken truth. Which brings us to section 4, living with integrity. The text gives us this deeply practical definition of true integrity. It defines it as representing God by demonstrating both right words and right living consistently. It's the seamless intersection where those two things meet. You can't just talk a good game but act terribly, and you can't just do good things while speaking falsehoods. Accurate representation requires both of them, working together all the time. So what's the clear conclusion of all this? The devotional boils the whole shebang down to one powerful summary statement: represent God with integrity. That's it. That is the primary takeaway today. In everything you do, every single conversation you have, every private decision you make, let integrity be your defining characteristic.
As we wrap up this explainer, the author leaves us with these final reflection questions, and I want to pose them directly to you right now. Do your words and actions consistently reflect the truth of God? Seriously, take a hard look at that gap between what you say and what you do. And secondly, how can you be more intentional today about guiding others toward God through your life? It's a really high calling, but as we've seen, it's a responsibility we all carry. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this. I really hope it challenges you to walk in truth today.